Why Africa's wealthiest entrepreneurs are building the next generation of global luxury, and nobody is talking about it. Africa is home to one of the fastest growing wealth stories in the world. Not Europe, not North America, not even parts of Asia, Africa. Yet if you consume mainstream business media, luxury media, or financial content, you would never know it. The headlines are still dominated by Silicon Valley, Wall Street, London, Paris, Dubai. And while the world is watching those markets, something remarkable is happening across Africa. A new generation of entrepreneurs is quietly building wealth, building industries, building brands, and increasingly, building luxury. The question is not whether Africa will participate in the future of global luxury. The question is whether the rest of the world will realize it before it is too late. Because the people positioning themselves today are not preparing to join the luxury economy. They are preparing to shape it. And that changes everything. To understand why this matters, we need to begin with a misconception. For decades, Africa was viewed primarily as a source of raw materials: oil, gold, diamonds, cocoa, coffee, cotton. Resources would leave the continent. Value would be added somewhere else. Then finished products would be sold back to consumers at much higher prices. The wealth existed, but the brands did not. The resources existed, but the ownership did not. And that became one of the greatest missed opportunities in modern economic history. Because luxury is not created by resources alone. Luxury is created through ownership, branding, storytelling, exclusivity, culture, and status. The real money is rarely in the raw material. It is in the brand attached to it. Think about it. A leather hide may be worth a few dollars. A luxury handbag made from that same leather may sell for thousands. The difference is not the material. The difference is the brand. For decades, many African economies supplied the material while someone else owned the brand. That equation is beginning to change. According to the Africa Wealth Report, the continent is now home to approximately 122,500 millionaires, 348 centimillionaires, and 25 billionaires. More importantly, Africa's millionaire population is projected to grow by around 65% over the next decade. Read that again. 65% growth. That is not a small trend. That is a generational shift. And wherever wealth grows, luxury follows. Always. Because luxury is not simply about products. Luxury is the visible expression of wealth. When wealth rises, demand for premium experiences rises. Demand for premium real estate rises. Demand for luxury hospitality rises. Demand for fine dining rises. Demand for high-end fashion rises. Demand for exclusive brands rises. The pattern repeats throughout history, and Africa is now entering that cycle. But here is where things become interesting. The biggest opportunity is not selling luxury to Africa. The biggest opportunity is building luxury from Africa. There is a huge difference. One creates consumers. The other creates owners. Most people focus on the first. Very few focus on the second. And that is why many entrepreneurs are missing what could become one of the most important business opportunities of the next 20 years. Look at what some of Africa's most successful entrepreneurs have already accomplished. Take Aliko Dangote. Many people know him as Africa's richest businessman. But the more important lesson is how he built his fortune. He did not become one of the wealthiest people on earth by creating a trendy app. He built factories, supply chains, infrastructure, manufacturing capacity. He focused on ownership of critical industries. Today, his industrial empire spans cement, fertilizer, food production, and energy. Why does that matter? Because luxury brands ultimately depend on strong economic foundations. No society builds globally respected luxury houses without first creating wealth. Luxury is often the final layer. Industry comes first. Infrastructure comes first. Capital comes first. Ownership comes first. And across Africa, those foundations are becoming stronger. A growing class of entrepreneurs is no longer asking how to participate in global markets. They are asking how to dominate specific categories: fashion, jewelry, hospitality, private aviation, luxury tourism, luxury real estate, premium food brands, premium agricultural products, and cultural exports. This is where the conversation becomes larger than money. Luxury is culture packaged as value. That is why French luxury succeeded. That is why Italian luxury succeeded. That is why Swiss luxury succeeded. Those countries did not merely sell products. They sold identity, history, craftsmanship, heritage, and aspiration. Africa possesses all of those ingredients. In many cases, it possesses them in abundance. Thousands of years of history, hundreds of cultures, unique craftsmanship, distinct artistic traditions, extraordinary natural landscapes, rare materials, powerful stories. The challenge has never been the absence of value. The challenge has been capturing that value. Now imagine what happens when a continent with one of the youngest populations on Earth combines those cultural assets with growing wealth, expanding technology access, increasing entrepreneurship, and rising international connectivity. That combination is powerful. Because luxury in the 21st century is changing. Consumers are no longer buying only products. They are buying stories, authenticity, meaning, identity, and belonging. This shift creates an opening, a very large opening. Many of the world's most established luxury brands were built generations ago. They carry history, but they also carry limitations. New generations want something different. They want fresh narratives, fresh perspectives, fresh symbols of status. And increasingly, Africa is becoming part of that conversation. Look at global fashion. Look at music. Look at art. Look at design. African influence is expanding across all of them. What starts in culture often ends in business. What starts in business often ends in luxury. And what starts in luxury often becomes global influence. The entrepreneurs who understand this are already moving, quietly, strategically, patiently. They are building brands today that may become globally recognized names tomorrow. Most people will not notice them until the success becomes obvious. That is how every major trend works. The opportunity always appears invisible in the beginning, then inevitable in hindsight. The greatest mistake entrepreneurs make is assuming that future opportunities will look exactly like past opportunities. They will not. The next generation of global luxury brands may not come exclusively from Paris, or Milan, or New York. Some may come from Lagos, Nairobi, Cape Town, Addis Ababa, Kigali, Casablanca, or Accra. And when that happens, the people who position themselves early will have an enormous advantage. Because they will not be competing for attention. They will be defining the category itself. This is the real story. Not poverty, not aid, not outdated stereotypes, but ownership, creation, innovation, and value. A continent moving from resource supplier to value creator. A continent moving from consumer to owner. A continent beginning to recognize the power of its own brands. And perhaps most importantly, a continent beginning to understand that luxury is not something imported. Luxury is something built. The entrepreneurs who see this shift today have a choice: watch it happen or participate in it. Because the next era of luxury is not being written only in the traditional capitals of wealth. Parts of it are being written in Africa right now, quietly, but not for long. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to wealthiest Luxury, because here we do not just study wealth. We study how wealth shapes culture, how culture creates influence, and how influence becomes legacy. Join us as we explore the world's most fascinating stories in luxury, business, power, and wealth. This is wealthiest Luxury, where ambition meets legacy.